Okay, so I guess we can just get started. Basically, this is a question that's like been asked for a while, and if you know me, you know that I like to make these really cinematic Instagram stories, and I think it's really cool because I've been doing it for about like 2 years, and I've always been asked the question like, how do you make them, right? And before I go to like the editing portion of the video, I really wanted to talk about how I record the stories, or what goes on in my head when I'm recording these stories, because I'm going to try and deconstruct this as much as possible because I don't really like to overthink things too much, but this is basically what I do. So the first thing is to record whatever catches your eye. You know, I think to develop like a trained eye, not to say my eye is trained or something, but whatever literally catches your eye, whatever you're feeling at the moment, whether it's like happy, sad, lonely, just capture it. And 2 years ago, I noticed that a lot of people were recording through the Instagram app. They use the actual camera within the Instagram app, and I thought that was just attracted me from the moment. So what I decided to do was I decided to use my iPhone camera, like the actual camera app, not the Instagram app. So then I would save the memories, be able to live my life in the moment and just like go on with my day. And then I would edit the videos afterwards. That's basically how this whole thing got started. You know, it's really cool to do that, because then I would just record like 1 or 2 seconds, maybe at most 10 seconds, and just like put the phone back in my pocket or just like continue living out my life. So another thing is I believe that the camera app within the iPhone is very superior versus the recording quality on your Instagram app, mainly because you have the option of recording in 24 frames per second. I'll link something down below so you could change your settings, but make sure to change your iPhone settings to 24 frames because like that gives you the most cinematic look, you know? I don't really know the jargon associated with it, but yeah, that's what I like to do. If anything, like to develop this trained eye, I just think that it's really easy to look at scenes and what you already see in cinema and online, and I always try and keep in mind of like how I'm feeling in the moment. For example, if I'm at a place alone and I just really want to evoke this feeling of loneliness, I will have a lot of scenes that is just me alone, whether it's just it constitutes like me and my shadow, or just if I'm feeling really happy with like a group of friends, like I just want to capture their happiness as well. So it's something to keep in mind when you're living in the moment, but at the same time trying to implement what you're feeling into your recording. I'm gonna use my iPhone case to show you basically how I record. I think panning is really important too, because whether you're going from bottom to top, left to right, keep in mind of like those transition scenes. You can always use them when you're editing, like in post. So if anything, I like to go like, I like to pan upwards, I like to pan downwards, I like to pan left and right, you know, right to left. You literally whatever direction you go to. Look like a crazy person doing this like all the time, but just like pan in all these like different directions and make sure to keep a steady hand. As you know, I basically color grade with VSCO. VSCO X also has some editing features where you can edit the video, which is why I think, even though, you know, I know it's $20 a year, I really think it's worth it. And if you have a chance, definitely like, I hate subscriptions, but this if you're going to, you know, edit your stories like all the time, I will do that. That is the length that I am willing to go just to make my stories look a bit nicer. So it's like really easy to just put on a filter, or again, adjust the filter. That's essentially like what I like to do. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys basically what I use. This is a video I made of my recent trip to Davenport, and initially, I don't know if you know about like this app, but the secret app that I use is called InShot, and InShot is so good. If you've ever used like Final Cut Pro, iMovie, this is like the mobile version of that, I think, or you have enough features to make these really cool Instagram stories. So what I like to do, I just like to make my usual cuts. And these like arrows, they are basically transitions. Essentially, you have like all these like basic transitions, you have your dissolve transitions. I also paid for some transitions, which were like $3. So again, if you're gonna do this all the time, I think it's worth it. So for example, I really wanted to switch from the scene of me alone to like a scene of me showing you my surroundings. So what I did was added this super scene, which basically transitions from like left to right Unless I'm trying to show like sound, I usually put all the sound like off. Yeah, so volume apply to all. Yeah, after I make my like usual cuts, here you go. If I'm being honest, how I felt during the scene when I was there, I just felt like surrealism, and I was alone, so I was really at peace, and that's exactly what I wanted to show during my time like at Davenport. So I think a really helpful tool as well is adding text. I usually do that to show my location, rather than using like Instagram location tags or something like that. What really helps is that you can import certain fonts. So what I like to do, I just like to go on the internet, search a free font, and you can download it on your phone. And then after that, you can import the font, import it straight into InShot. And then that's how I have these like custom fonts right here. And right now I've just really been into Ryland Regular. Used to use a lot of like Archivo Black. Of course, like when I first started, I used like the ones that were already there, such as like Helvetica Neue, Medium, like, you know, the typical sans serif fonts. But I wasn't really a fan of like these, I don't know what you call them, like stylized fonts, because I think they're kind of like overdone. And again, these are the fonts that are included with the app, so I don't really like to use that because I feel like everyone else can use them. But try and use fonts that are more catered to your personality, what you are trying to convey, what message are you trying to evoke to your viewers. Yeah, so I added the Davenport, and what I like to do there is this button allows me to, you know, change what type of transition my text goes as well. So I really just wanted to do a simple fade in, fade out, which is why I did that slowly. Yeah, and like, you know, what you do in a sense of like, you just add a lot of transitions, cater your story to how you want to tell your story. Again, these are Instagram stories. I feel like the most important thing is just to try and tell a story with your stories. You know, sometimes I'll make these stories and it's just like a montage of my life, and usually I don't really care for those, even though they look cool, objectively cool. But like the greatest effect for a lot of people is that when I achieve in trying to tell like my story. So within this story, I have like a lot of like subtle hints of just like how I'm feeling, especially like from the music choice. So this is already like a finished project of me after color grading through VSCO. And essentially, sometimes when it comes to song choice, I really like to use songs that I remember the most from the trip, or that really fit the vibe that I'm going through at that moment, or the message you want to convey. And in this case, it was just like a piano instrumental. I don't know if I can play it because YouTube might, you know, cancel this monetization, as if I do get monetized. But yeah, that is essentially what I do when it comes to making the Instagram stories. You might be wondering, like, how do you use popular music without getting copyrighted? I don't know how to do that on YouTube, but at least on Instagram, like, I usually go to like YouTube to MP3, get whatever link on YouTube and get the MP3 in that sense. Initially, I would get copyrighted on Instagram, but what I've noticed is that now that there are Instagram Reels, your original audio that is associated with it will just be linked to is associated with it, if that makes sense. So in a way, now that we live in 2021 and like Instagram Reels is a thing, that's what I've been trying to do now, is to upload my stories on Reels. Because I used to just upload them to my stories, but now that you can make Instagram maybe this video should have been titled How to Make Instagram Reels, but that's essentially the same concept in that sense. So sorry, hopefully this was helpful. But that's basically what I do when I make my Instagram stories. It's not really, I don't think it's rocket science. There's just a couple like pointers and tips I like to like make along the way. But yeah, I think again, at the end of the day, it is the story that you're trying to tell. And with these Instagram stories, try and make things different. You know, I would love to see more of how other people, you know, curate their content. And of course, like, there's nothing wrong in trying to implement what you've seen online, because like nothing is ever original in my opinion. So thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, hopefully it was helpful. Bye.